Welcome back for another FPL Expectations episode with me, Craig. I say another because, well, I just did one about a couple of hours ago, but this is a Game Week 13 deadline special. Yes, the deadline is about 45 minutes away. If you have any questions in regards to transfers, bench order, substitution, whatever it is, okay, captaincy, which I'm sure will be a big one. Who are you going to pick? Bruno, KDB? Who knows? We're going to answer all of that for you right here today. And with me in the studio, I've got Surya from All About FPL. Surya, how are you doing? It's been a
Yeah, I'm
while.
doing good. Yeah, it's been a while since we did a double show. It's good to be back. Crazy schedule, and it's like just one game we got over, and we are here for another show. But yeah, it's fun as well. Looking forward to watching Man City's lineup first, and then seeing them play later. yeah.
Yeah,
So
and that's the beauty of having a quick turnaround in games. You know, we get
yes,
people like
yes,
you available, ready to come on, as well as having people like
yes,
Joe and Mariner earlier on. So
yes,
it works out perfectly
yes,
for all of us. But it
yes,
only benefits the FPL community. So here we
yes,
are with another episode. And Surya, we're going to go through your team quickly first, right?
yes, yes.
And just tell
Yeah.
us what you're thinking ahead of Game Week 13 deadline.
Yeah, so basically, since I wildcarded in Game Week 5, I started with 14 players except for the bench keeper, but eventually Mitchell and Kilman lost their spots, so I had just 12 players to play with. So my initial thoughts was to ship out one of Kilman or Mitchell to get a bench for a keeper, especially with rotations being rifle around this period of time and fixtures come and thick and through. But then I wanted to chase some points. I'm pretty much at the 500k rank. I think you'd be knowing we have this expectation mini league as well. So I
Yeah.
have some catching up to do with to get ahead of Mariner or Zoo. So I wanted to do some upside chasing, and what I did was ship out Mo Salah for Kevin De Bruyne and captained him because I had Sterling before. Sterling has been there for a long time, and he has pretty much done nothing for me. So I hope
Yeah.
I hope he does something today for my team. But then chances of not going into a West Bromwich Albion game without Kevin De Bruyne was something that I was very scared of. So and especially with Spurs being very defensive over the last couple of game weeks, they have conceded just 2 goals in the last 7 games. And of course, Palace did score 1 goal, but then they are extremely defensive, and we all know Mourinho sets up defensively against the bigger teams. So I thought maybe I'll do Salah to KDB this week, and then Sterling to Salah the next week. So basically, getting in the premiums just based on their fixtures and moving them out sideways was my plan, and that's what I've done. And KDB has been my captain so far, and hopefully it doesn't change in the next 45 minutes as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so rotating more or less between
The premium.
the higher priced assets.
Yes.
Is that something that you planned on doing this season, or is it just how the game has set up for you this
Yeah,
season?
so this was slightly in my plans from the last season itself, and I think I derived this idea from Zoo. I steal it from him definitely. So this was from one of the post restart fixtures wherein Zoo moved from Salah to Sterling, and it proved out very effective because Sterling scored an hat trick. It's the same game week where Antonio
Yeah,
scored 4 goals. Yeah, so I think the fact is that a lot of times we get emotionally attached with these premium midfielders, but then of course being attached doesn't get you point. It's of course them playing on the pitch is what gets you point. And combined with the fact that Salah was slightly sluggish, and we were lucky to got that penalty and 16 points out of him from captaincy because he was supposed to be subbed off last week, and
yeah,
eventually
yeah.
got a penalty, and then he fumbled the penalty, and somehow I was shocked that Ariola didn't save it, but then it went in, and he got in an extra bonus point as well, so no complaints. But the fact that West Bromwich Albion and Sheffield United both have been very poor defensively right through the
Yeah.
season, and last 4 weeks, pretty much they are competing with each other for being who's the worst in terms of defense. So yeah, so that emotional decision is slightly off this season. as I look to chase. And of course, there's like phenomenal chasers Pranil, popularly known as late racer. I think you guys would all anyone
Yeah,
who's watched.
late razor.
Yeah. So that kind of strategy is something that I wanted to approach this season, and this is the first time I'm implementing it. So hopefully it goes right with KDB and Sterling. Although I'm ready to accept one being benched also, because of course we never know Pep. So what he does, yeah, Craig. So that's the thought process behind it. Yeah.
So nice, a little rotation between the high-priced assets. That's your team set for game week 13 then?
Yes.
KDB captain, Bryson Fernandez, and all good, no changes.
No changes. I think I don't see any area where I could change. Of course, I want to start Susek, but the fact
Yeah,
is that
that
I
was what
can't
I was
go.
alluding to. That was what I was trying to get at. Are you going to play Suchek? I mean, I'm in the same position as you, to be honest with you. I've got Suchek, first off my bench. I didn't
Yeah.
get the 9 points last week. I did
Uh-huh.
the week before, which
Yes.
was good. But I didn't get it this week, last week rather.
Yeah.
Any temptation to play him and maybe drop one of the strikers?
Yeah, that temptation is always there. And if you remember, we both were like strong Susek fans ever since the
Yeah,
first start of the season. So he's been there in my team since the beginning. So, but then the last 2 weeks, as I said, since my two bench defenders don't play, I am like totally in a position wherein I have to bench him. So maybe
yeah,
the thought was that to bench Adams, but then considering how good Southampton are and how shit Arsenal are, so I'm
yeah,
looking at in Southampton win, or of course it should be an open game. And Bamford is again like Leeds create tons of chances. You don't bench him and eventually he scores a hat trick. And of course, there's people replaying, and I just saw one replay today saying the last time I benched Bamford, he scored a hat trick. So that possibility of that happening too is there. So
very high. Yeah.
hopefully the Palace defense keeps Susek quiet. But of course, he's a great asset, and if any one of them they have an non-playing striker or an underperforming striker, then of course Susek is a very good option. But unfortunately, I don't see a spot for him to replace a player. That's how things stand, Craig. So he has the check. The check guy has to stay on the bench once again this week. Yeah.
Okay, Astrolicious one. It's time for Sterling to shine, he says, or shite. So shine or shite for Sterling. I think some people have been burned by him before,
Yes.
so not ideal, but it's a good punt. I mean, they've got a great fixture. And it's hard to ignore assets like that. I mean, it's almost certain KDB and Sterling start.
Yes.
They'll probably be the lesser rotation risk. So
Yes.
not bad. That's your team ahead of the game week 13 deadlines. Remember, if you are watching on the live stream, I can see a few of you up there. If you have any questions ahead of the deadline, we've just got over half an hour to go before deadline closes. So get your questions in. Obviously, we've got Surya here who would help you out with your teams. I'm very tempted to play Suchek. So I think in the next half an hour, I've got to make a big decision on which striker I'm going to drop. But that's good. Go. Sorry, going into game week 13, there have been, because of the quick turnaround, a lot of niggles, injuries, and all that. I mean, this is something, this whole COVID situation as well. I mean, we saw a game postponed, that possibly wrecked most people's teams. I mean, you had to have a good bench, and luckily some people did. But how important is it going into this festive period and to have a good bench? I mean, you yourself just said, with your team, you've got two defenders that aren't playing.
Yeah, that's what it's really important, Craig. And the thought of shipping out Kilman or Mitchell for another defender was always there in my mind. And I would have done it if I had KDB already instead of Sterling. But then I had to prioritize that move, so that's why Kilman and Mitchell weren't replaced. But of course, I say it's getting 14 players is maybe an overkill, but at least two playing bench players is pretty much essential, because we don't still know, and I'm not still confident that both of KDB and Sterling will start, but I am okay with the fact that even if Sterling comes in for half an hour, he should do some damage, or maybe in worst case, if even KDB gets benched, or say Fernandez has been rumored to be carrying an ankle problem that kept him out for 45 minutes against West Ham. Maybe he could be benched. We don't know. United has got an extra rest, but you never know what happens in these midweek fixtures, and you'll have to be prepared to face it if one of the premiums completely misses out. And that's why Susek is standing tall as my first sub. But of course, I would love if I had another starting player in my bench in place of Kilman or Mitchell. So that gives a lot of liberty to choose from and freedom to move around as well. Yeah.
Okay, we got one of the questions that has just come in. It's from Dean, who was actually on our previous stream a couple of hours back. I'll just get it up there. Dean asked, "Hey, I sort of got the same question, but I got Son right now and want to take him out for Rashford. He doesn't have Bruno. He has 1.5 million in the bank with a free transfer, and he's going to do Vardy to Kane. So that's his question. That's part one. And then part two, with the money, but should I do Son to Rashford, as I will have Kane against LFC for 1 week? So he's basically torn between doing this one, Son for Rashford or Vardy to Kane. So he's got a little bit of money in the bank, which he doesn't have Bruno. What do you suggest?
Yeah, so of course, against Sheffield, there's going to be a lot of chance getting created, and of course, Rashford playing on the wings should be definitely a very good option. But then, with already Son being there and removing out Vardy for Kane, and then replacing Son to get in Bruno, I think that is a bit of an hockey cocky move, like Zoo used to say. I would still hold Son because I feel the Liverpool game might be more suited to Son rather than Kane, in my honest opinion. And Everton's defense has been bad as well. So keeping in Vardy is not a bad option. So if one United asset, if someone wants to bring in it always has to be Bruno Fernandes. For me this season, Rashford is slightly inconsistent. Even though he gets the chances, he misses a lot of them. Moving Son to Bruno is something not I would recommend, Dean. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Another question from Navin. He asked, between Grealish, Bamford, and Souček, which two would you play? I've got Son, Bruno, and KDB in midfield, and Kane and DCL up front. So he's asking which of his assets to play between Grealish, Bamford, and Souček. Which two would you play from that?
Yeah, so of course it's for me again, like we know Souček is important and he's sitting in my bench. So I would definitely recommend Bamford and Grealish. Because the chance of a bigger return is always higher for Bamford and Grealish. And Grealish was quite silent against Wolves last week, but then that should change come this week. So, and Burnley are again an on and off side, and of course they won against Arsenal. That's definitely there, but I would definitely start Bamford and Grealish, no doubts over that. Yeah.
Bamford and Grealish. Are you not tempted at all to consider Souček? I mean, he's coming off the back of 2 goals in 2 games.
And
Mariner brought up some really good aerial stat from a Crystal Palace defensive point of view and a West Ham attacking point of view. But is there there's no temptation from you whatsoever? I mean, I think 3 of us are in the same boat in terms of Souček. Because we all have him and we'd like to play him, but you seem pretty fixed. You seem pretty fixed on you're happy with him off the bench if he does come off the bench.
Yes, so yeah, of course he's that kind of a player. Of course he's coming off 2 quick goals, and my understanding was Crystal Palace are like lanky defenders. They're tall, and I thought their aerial numbers defensively would have been good. But then Mariner says otherwise. Of course, numbers are there to be looked into, and pretty much a lot of people brought in the Leeds aerial defense as well, being bad before the start of last game week, and of course Souček scored 1. My only concern is that ever since they switched back to from that. Since Masuak was injured, they switched back to this 4-4 2 formation, basically, and Susek is slightly playing deeper compared to the ones before. So if I'm not wrong, the number of penalty box touches is slightly decreasing for Susek. So he was more of a short guy and a header guy, but now he's more of a header guy. Maybe that's something that worried me, and that's the
Yeah.
reason he's on
Yeah.
my bench. Yeah, that's one reason, Craig. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Dean's come in with another question. Do you think that there's a slight chance United could possibly blank overall? Obviously, United are playing Sheffield United. Is there a slight chance that there's a blank in this for United assets?
No, I think as in blank, is he meaning United not playing, or like United not performing well against?
Not performing well. So I'm thinking,
Uh,
he's looking at your Rashfords and your Brunos, and
uh,
basically United not scoring. I think.
No, I think that's certainly not happening, because when you consider just away from United are number one on the table. They won 5 out of 5. They've scored a lot of goals away from home. In fact, 16 goals. I just did a comparison of United home versus away in the captaincy blog that I wrote last night. So if United are absolutely flying when it comes to being away from home. They are number one for big chances per 90s, number two on shots per 90, and I think basically what has happened here is that the away form that Bruno Fernandes has had so far since joining United has carried over to the entire United team nowadays. So everyone seems to perform very well away from home, and for some reason they're very underperforming at Old Trafford,
Yeah.
considering it was their fortress. Maybe the lack of fans, the lack of the fanfare that usually is there at the Theatre of Dreams. Maybe that could be a possible reason, but Sheffield are too poor, extremely poor, considering the goals that they let against Southampton, and United are simply too good away from home. So I don't see United blanking or Bruno blanking, to be honest. He has not blanked away from home yet since joining United, and he has not gone consecutive games without an attacking return. Of course, he blanked against City. So all these numbers, and we all know how good of a player he is. So I think a blank is certainly out of question, Dean, in my opinion. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Speaking of your captaincy article, do you mind getting that up for us so we can have a little whiz through that and
Yeah.
see how
Yes.
KDB and Bruno Fernandes
Yes.
match up against
Yes.
each other?
Yes. Yeah.
This is obviously one of the biggest questions that we've seen about who do
Yes.
we go for, Bruno or
Yes.
KDB?
Yes.
And
Exactly.
I believe you've got some good stuff for us here.
Yeah, I'm just opening it up, and in fact, I wanted to do a 5-player comparison. And after looking at what people are talking, so I just decided to just compare these two people, because, anyways, people are going with either one of them as their captain pick. So might as well compare them in detail. Was my thinking. Yeah. So just a bit, guys. I'll just let it load off.
No worries.
Yeah. So in fact, the poll was close as well. Just a second. Yeah, so it was 51.1 to 48.9. That was the
That's how close it was.
that's how close it was. Out of the close to 500 odd people, it's just 250 for KDB and Bruno Fernandes. So the stat that he was talking about, Bruno Fernandes, it's here, Dean, if you're watching. So they've played, United have played 5 away, and they've won 5 out of 5, and they've scored 16 goals away from home. It just basically highest and second highest to the right hand side of your screen of the comparison. So this pretty much tells you the story of how good United are away from home. And that's what Bruno Fernandes away record is slowly catching on to United as well as a entire team.
And,
So,
and what about KDB? I mean, I think as your poll shows, majority are flocking towards captaining the Belgian.
yes,
Is he? I mean, obviously, I've seen your team, and you're doing exactly the same.
yes, yes, yes.
What stats have you looked at that that really support this?
Yeah, so looking back at KDB this season. So what I did was to just compare how good Bruno Fernandes and KDB were for the last 4 weeks, and in fact, it's pretty close numbers. It's just like basically they are evened out. There isn't much to even differentiate between two of them, both of them. Pretty much same shots and goal. Like of course, Bruno has more shots on target compared to KDB over the last 4 weeks. But in terms of XG, the big chances, the key passes, big chances created, everything is almost same. And in fact, points, even when you compare points wise, Bruno's on 30 over the last 4 weeks, and KDB is on 29. So it's pretty much again even over there. So another thing that I wanted to go with KDB was KDB is slightly lesser owned compared to Bruno. So he's 25% owned, and the last time I checked, and Bruno was around 42% owned. So if you are looking to play it safe, then I would say Bruno, of course, because the numbers also say so, considering United's away record and his away record. But if you're slightly chasing and you're pretty much okay with the risk of maybe Pep benching KDB or him being taken off at 60, 65, 70, I would say KDB to be a greater option. So that again played a big fact, because when you look into numbers too deep, there isn't much of a difference between Bruno versus KDB of the last 4 games. But one thing that swung it in Bruno's favor was the next thing that I did. So this basically Bruno away and KDB home per 90. So here that's where there was a stark difference. So Bruno's away record is pretty much very good compared to KDB's home record. Again, all these numbers are per 90. So his key passes, his big chances, everything is slightly better compared to KDB at home, considering Bruno is playing away. And of course, when you compare the defenses that they are going to play, Sheffield and West Brom are 1 and 2 in terms of goals conceded, in terms of big chances conceded over the last 5 game weeks. So again, the quality of opposition is pretty much similar. It's just comes to the fact that how good these two will be on their day, and we both know they are equally good. So there's pretty much nothing to differentiate. But one thing that stood out was Bruno's away record compared to KDB's home record, which slightly indicates going with Bruno's number. And if I'm not wrong, Bruno came first in Mariners metric as well, right? If I'm not wrong.
No, it was KDB.
I think
Bruno was
again.
third.
Bruno was third. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Maris came in between them. Yeah. If I'm
Maris came in between, correct.
Them. Yeah, of course. So yeah, so KDB is still a very good option, and I'm slightly looking to chase. So that's the bolder option of doing KDB tonight for captaincy. Yeah, that's how it goes, guys. Yeah.
If you still were undecided, there's enough stats on allaboutfpl.com for you to digest and make your own decision. But the general consensus is over the 2 shows, I think everyone is going KDB if you have them. And obviously, if you don't, then Bruno Fernandes is possibly the next best. Dean does ask us another question. Let me just get your thing off. Yeah. What are your thoughts on getting Rafinha from Leeds? 5.4 million player as a starting player, as he's been starting the past 4 weeks, playing 90 minutes. Now, if I remember, he's only got 1 goal out of those 4 weeks. And
he scored against Everton. And in fact, there was a lot of attention on him last week. With few managers talking about him. Even we mentioned him in our differential blog. But again, having said that, Bamford was hooked at 70 last week. That wasn't much of a confirmation, was it for a knock or anything? But Rafinha continues to play 90, and he seems to be a very good option going forward. But I would still give him a week or two to see how well he's settling in, and see if he's scoring a couple of more goals for us to consider. Of course, there's like a lot of people in that 5.5 region who suddenly gets mentioned heavily even after one good performance. He just scored 1 goal against Everton. That too was well away out of the box. He just took his chance and went in. So maybe hold him for another week. If you have Bamford, I think you would have been you'd have already have Bamford in your 11. If you're not having, I'm not sure. But if you have Bamford, I think two will be an overkill in my option. And always lead striker is a very better option compared to Rafinha. Dean, yeah, that would be my take on it.
Okay, and just coming in as we speak, obviously on our FPL expectations group chat. If you don't have your phone on you, Surya. But to those of you out there, if you haven't, do go check out Ben Krenlin's Twitter right now because he's just posted up the confirmed fixtures for game week 18 and game week 19. We're gonna have a double game week in game week 19, and quite a few fixtures have moved over from 18 to 19. So whether if you so if you're still contemplating whether to hold your free transfers or build up towards that, this could be key in deciding if you want to hold your free transfer and then slowly build to that double game week. Do check out Ben Krenlin's Twitter, and then we can get and then you can plan it properly for yourselves over the next
so
few weeks period. The games will be coming quick and fast. Have you got it up?
Yes, I've got it up. Yeah, so that is 5 games that's being moved from game week 18 to game week 19. So it's pretty much empty in. So when you look at game week 18 fixture, it's Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, Aston Villa versus Tottenham, Brighton versus Man City. Okay, Crystal Palace is okay. I'm reading it wrong, so I'm sorry.
So if you look at game week, the blanks in game week 18, obviously it's the ones in red. Burnley have a blank, Chelsea have a blank, Fulham, Leeds, Leicester, Liverpool. Yeah, that's a big one. Southampton, Man United. Yeah, so a lot of assets there. If we go further down, West Ham as well. So quite a few teams not playing game week 18. However, we say that
immediately we have
there's double game weeks for both the following week. The following game week rather. Just having a quick look at it. If I just zoom in a little bit closer to it, it's Burnley who will have West Ham and Liverpool. That's going to be tasty it's going to be very tasty for Liverpool and West Ham out assets there. Chelsea have Fulham and Leicester. Leicester should be a tough game for them, but the Fulham game should be it's a nice little West London derby there. So maybe form book might go out the window in that respect. Fulham, as we go further down, Leeds have Brighton and Southampton. Leicester, Southampton and Chelsea. Liverpool have Man United and Burnley. That's the double header right there. Man United have Liverpool and Fulham. Southampton have Leicester and Leeds. West Bromwich have Wolves and West Ham have Burnley and West Bromwich Albion. So a lot of double game week fixtures there. I mean, just putting you on the spot now without any planning, Surya. I mean, what would you be thinking here? Would you looking at free hits, obviously triple captains in game week 19 for sure?
Yeah. So the thing is, I've been since the beginning of the season was very rightly saying game week 19 will be the biggest double game week of this particular season. That's because of the calendar schedule. So of course, people who still have your wildcarding in game week 16 and building a team for double game week 19 should be the best strategy. But of course, the entire expectations panel has wiped out their wild card. So I'm telling it in Zoo and Mariner as well. So we've all used their wild card. So we don't have that particular liberty of wild carding in game week 16. And of course, wild carding so early in game week 17 is also not a very good option because you still have 21 game weeks later to come up. So it's still better to hold your second wild card. So if you have your first wild card, it's obviously the best decision to wild card in game week 16 and build a team towards double game week 19. But without ones, maybe I would be looking at a triple free team in 18 and using the triple captain in 19. 19 Craig.
That would be the most obvious strategy to use, wouldn't it?
Yes. And looking at Southampton play Leicester and Leeds. I think that's the cream of the double game week fixture. I think every other double game week fixture has one big six involved. Liverpool have United, United have Liverpool, like Chelsea. Oh, Chelsea too have Fulham and Leicester. So that is
Yeah.
hopefully Werner is an asset. By
Well,
then,
if he hits a bit of form over the Christmas period,
yeah,
then
yeah,
you know
of course,
we could be
that's
looking to get
yeah.
him.
And even West Ham have some Burnley and West Bromwich Albion. That's again two smaller, lighter teams, and West Ham are in form. So again good fixtures for West Ham over that particular period. So probably game week free thing in game week 18 or triple captaining in 19 if you don't have double game if you don't have a wild card is probably what it looks like. But of course, the sheet is out there. We'll have to work it out and see what's the best strategy. But of course, if you still have a wild card, just hold it out. We are already in 13. Just hold it out for another 3 weeks so that you could build a solid game week, double game week 19 team, and you guys could kill it on 19. And of course, you could. That will be again. This is not going to be the last double game week. Of course, there'll be smaller double game weeks as well coming up later because there is still the fixture of Newcastle versus Aston Villa that needs to be figured out, and also that of the first two games for Manchester teams that were postponed. Even that has to be figured out when to be played. So of course there will be few more double game weeks coming up. So if you still want to hold your triple captain or free it again, it should come into picture. But as Ben always said, 18 and 19 are going to be the biggest blank and biggest double as it happens simultaneously. So yeah, so that's my thoughts on the blank and double, Craig. Yeah.
There we have it, guys. If you haven't caught up, Ben Crendon has just released the game week 18 and 19. So as you can see on our screens right now, the blanks in game week 18 and also the double game week in game week 19. So plenty there, and a great way to start planning for those for the blank game week and for the double game week if you aren't already. So this is it. This is confirmed fixtures. Obviously, the only thing that could obviously change things would be the COVID situation, which
Yes.
you know in the season already we've seen with the Aston Villa Newcastle fixture a couple game weeks back. So that would be the only one. But we're going to head back to the questions right now. And Dean again, he's asking, do you think Solskjaer could potentially rest Bruno as it is only Sheffield United he's up against?
No, I think he thought it was only West Ham United, and we know what happened. So I don't think he'll be even in a position. I think he's already under too much of pressure after being gone out of Champions League. So I don't think. And United are of course in a decent position in the league, so they still have a game in hand. And if they win that game in hand, they'll go probably third on level, 1 point above Chelsea, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, so I don't see a chance of Ole trying to rest Bruno Fernandes at all in not even a single 1% of chance, Dean. So that's never happening. So he's gonna start because he's their main player, and that is the stark difference when he's not there on pitch for United. I think we have discussed this a lot of times. He's become one of the most influential United players in the last decade. If I'm okay, the last decade has been pretty much mundane. But then yeah, he's doing his job really well, and of course United need him. So I don't see him being rested. But of course, if United are in a comfortable position, say 3-0, 2-0 at 60, 65, 70, maybe Ole could hook him off at 70, 65 probably. But then there's literally no chance that Ole will bench Bruno Fernandes team. Yeah, so you can be pretty much confident about him. Yeah.
If there was any doubt of who the captain, KDB or Bruno, I know I keep going back to it, but you know, rest. I'm sure you made your decision, but if you have gone Bruno Fernandes, you might want to digest this little comment. Oliver the Cat has picked KDB, so that's that job done from Mariner. So
Yeah.
Oliver is our lucky cat who makes all the right predictions in regards to FPL captaincy. So if you have picked Bruno Fernandes, just think again. FPL swing fixtures are out. Game week 19. Yeah, we've just been covering it, bro. So yeah, do check it out early in the stream and hear what Surya has to say in regards to planning for game week 18 and 19. We got Srinivasan, who says, love for Syria. You got a lot of fans up here.
Oh, nice having a couple of people joining in. Yeah.
Swang Art, Salah out for Bruno for this game week. I'm not going to lie, I'm tempted. I'm
Yeah.
tempted.
So yeah,
I
swing.
think Salah has a very tough fixture.
Yeah, swing. I did Salah to KDB mate. So yeah, so I think we spoke it up with Craig at the beginning of the show. Spurs are very defensive. Their numbers are very strong defensively, and of course we all know what kind of formation and what kind of strategy Mourinho will be using against Liverpool tomorrow. So of course it's going to be very really defensive, and combined with the fact that Salah was slightly exhausted. He was not completely there against Fulham. He was removed, of course. He got a goal. We got lucky again. Having said that, but then for 1 week, it's a very good option. And then probably bring him back for the next game week. I think that is my strategy, which I discussed with Craig at the beginning of the show. Play around your premiums is something that I would definitely advise. So my plan was to get in. Get in KDB for Salah this week, and then ship out Sterling for Salah the coming week. So in this way, you could alter around your premium assets definitely. So it's pretty much a very good option to consider. And I think you've just got 10 minutes to decide. So I think you should probably leave the stream and go decide. Swing, yeah.
What about the price to get players like Salah back in once you've sold him? I mean, you lose a lot. I mean, if you've started out with Salah, if you're taking him out for the first time, what is it? I think he dropped after his injury, didn't he? After his COVID thing.
Yes. So, when you're doing Bruno out, that question would come up. But then Salah has dropped a lot since he started the season, and this COVID came, and he dropped 0.3 there, and he's jumped 0.1 afterwards, and then he's stagnant over there. So not all of us have a lot of value built in it, and anyways, value is too hyped up of a metric in my opinion. So I generally don't dig too deep into team value, because obviously if the player deserves to be in your team just for that one particular fixture, and especially premium players who we think could get 10, 15, 20 points, say 2 goals, 1 assist, hat trick, or triple assist, those kind of players, you obviously have to take the chance, and team value is the last thing you'll have to see to bring them in. So don't think of team value, and I don't think I don't think there is too much anyways built upon Salah, because if you have held him, you would have lost a lot, or if you have bought him in recently, again you wouldn't have gained a lot. So that shouldn't be a problem, Swing, over that. Yeah.
I mean, you've spoken so well in regards to that even Dean has said, "Wow, I might also do Salah to Bruno." I think you sold him right there with that. FPL Swing agrees with you. He says, "Yep, I agree with you, mate." So yeah, that's fantastic. We're 8 minutes away from the deadline. If you're watching, if you've got any last minute questions, do get them in. We will probably close questions for that, in about 5 minutes. So it gives us 2 minutes to maybe just double check our team, Surya, and just make sure that we're certain with what we're going ahead of game week 13. But yeah, it's been one of those. What about differentials? I mean, people are looking at differentials. There's obviously Aston Villa assets. There are certain cheaper alternatives in that United. I mean, it's someone like Anthony Martial against Sheffield United.
Yeah, I mean, so the last time he played, he scored a hat trick against Sheffield United. So that's that. But then the against opposition is too much of a very bad metric to consider, in my opinion. So yeah, he's been really bad this season. He's been so bad for United. So I don't think he's got 2 shots on target the entire season. So that's pretty worse for an United forward. So yeah, but having said that, there's like a lot of other under the radar differentials. So one could be Jared Bowen. Bowen is very underowned, and he's proved to be a very good asset over the last couple of weeks. Bowen is one, and Rafinha, like Dean mentioned. I think Dean was it or someone else. Rafinha is again a decent option over there, and you've got I would even say Ings to be a differential. He's just still owned by 8% of managers. Watkins is again owned by 8% of managers, and the fact that a lot of people are removing Diogo Jota, there's this void that's left there in the fifth midfielder position, which is being filled by like people like Susek, Rafinha, then comes Susek, Rafinha. Who else? I think we've mentioned. Yeah.
Lookman.
Lookman is another guy, and then there's this Fulham striker who's playing out of position. I think we put out a metric yesterday as well. He's got the most number of shots on target of the last 3 game weeks, Caviero, and like a lot of options over there. And if you are looking to punt on one, I think this is the perfect time because the averages will drop because a lot of rotations will be there. So, anyways, if you want to cheekily punt on one player, now is the best time to do. In fact, my punt is a premium punt in Raheem Sterling. He's owned by just 5%, so I would call him my star differential. But of course, of course, Bowen is there. Bowen is the one who's really impressed me this season. I think he was very good against United as well to have not got an attacking return in that game, and of course he did get one last week. So there's like a lot of options to consider, and you could pick one and just go with it. Of course, yeah, there's options. And one interesting thing is like if you look at the likes that Karen has been getting, it's been crazy. It's like refreshing every single second.
All right, I'm just going to go to Dean's question because we're running out of time here. Should I do Salah to Bruno for 2 weeks? Surya's analysis is selling me. Should he do it just for 2 weeks? Yes or no? Let's save him a bit of time.
Yeah, I think I would do it, Dean. So I think if I was in your position, I would do it just for 2 weeks, and then you could get him back. That's definitely not a problem. Yeah.
Okay. Maz is asking who you guys captaining. If you haven't already seen earlier on, we're all going KDB as of now. So there's your answer there to that. KDB, as long as he doesn't get benched. I mean, it is the pet roulette, so we never know what's going to happen. We've got 2 minutes before we're going to maybe head off and just look at our teams quickly and see if we're going to make any changes. Do get your questions in. I reckon we can answer a couple more. Heidi, I put your question up just now. Well, it wasn't really a question, but you did come on the show earlier and did say you're doing Bowen for Jota, and you've done it. You're going without Bruno Fernandes though, which is pretty risky and pretty brave. But yeah, hopefully the differentials pay off for you. We do genuinely hope it does, but we also want Fernandes to score a hat-trick, by the way. Mars is asking just 3 minutes from the deadline, and this is the question that he comes up with. Where are you from, Surya? Mars, 3 minutes away from the deadline. Are you serious? FPL questions, mate.
Yeah, so to answer that, I'm from Chennai, mate. So Chennai is a place in India. So I guess you have known. So it's close to Malaysia and Singapore. Yeah, 4 hours, 3.5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And as for me, I'm from England. Sorry, I was just reading your next question in there, but it wasn't really a question. I'm from England, but I live in Malaysia now, and I have been for the last 11 years. So yeah, that's where we're from. Mars is set, and I think most of us are. Surya, do you want to check your team quickly with a couple of minutes to go?
Yeah, I think I'll drop off as well, Craig. So nice joining you tonight, and just give me a minute.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, cool guys. Thanks for joining in, and I'll be off. Take care.
Okay.
Have a good week.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye guys. Bye. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be staying on with you guys as we go on, and we've got a couple of minutes till the deadline. If you still want to get your questions in, do get them in, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. I'm just going to have a quick look at my team and just make sure that I'm all set, like all of you lot out there. I have gone Bruno. I'll share my team with you in just a minute. If I get it up, share screen. So this is my team that I'm going with. Hope you all can see it. So nothing spectacular. Got Ryan in goal, starting target, Chilwell and Diaz, Salah, Grealish, Fernandes and De Bruyne. And up front, I'm going with DCL, Bamford and Watkins. I've got Souček on the bench. I'm still not sure. I've got a minute to go, or a few seconds rather to go. before I make that. Should I play Souček instead of Salah? That's a very brave move if I do. I don't think I'm brave enough to do that. But we got probably last 30 seconds before it goes. So guys, do get your questions in. Are you all still on KDB? Bruno, which one are you going for? Do let me know. A lot of KDBs I see coming in. And that's it. Deadline has been closed. 12:30 on the dot. And there we have it. That is game week 13, which has just passed us. Deadline, yes, as FPL Swing says, deadline day. There we go. Yeah, we're done. We're done, guys. I hope you're picked well. I hope you're transferred well. And for those of you who had some differentials, I really do hope it pays off for you, because if there's ever a week that it's going to do it, it's probably in the next couple of weeks with all the rotations, with the games coming thick and fast. I do expect a lot of surprises in lineups, especially with the virus as well going around. But thank you all for joining us on our second episode of today. Yes, we did have one much earlier. If you did miss it live, I hope you did catch it in time just before the deadline. This was a special day because we did two in a day. I don't think we've ever done that before. But I hope you all enjoyed it. I see some of you that watched our first one that came back for the second one. So we really do appreciate all your support here at FPL Expectations. We wish you all the best for game week 13. May the points be with you. This is me, Craig, signing up. Good luck for game week 13, everyone. Take care. And keep in touch with us via Twitter. If you're not following me, it's at CraigMoraes11. If you're not following FPL Expectations, it's at FPL Expectations. Please click the subscribe button and the notification button to get alerts for whenever we do live shows or post anything up on our YouTube page. Thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it. Thank you, and have a great week of football. See you later.